Hello and welcome to everybody live here on Ponytails podcast episode 43, 44. We've been a little dormant this summer, so thank you, Dave, for kind of capping off what's been a really fun project for us. This is basically like our big finale where Dave Rosen, located now in Chicago, Illinois, was famous for breaking the Southwestern company record for selling books in a summer. Back in 1989, his fourth summer. He was the number one first year. Some summers before that, selling out of USF, South Florida. There in is that Tampa or is that St. Petersburg?
Tampa.
Where, yeah, it's a beautiful part of the country where he made a name for himself and rose up into 10 years of being a sales leader in the company. He was the first person in company history to average more for a summer. So he's figured out how to fine tune systems and really put discipline focus into action and help other people do that. It's really, really awesome that you're here with us today. We're really excited to dig into your story, both within the Southwestern context and beyond. So thank you so much for joining us. Welcome, Dave.
Well, thank you. Thank you for inviting me. I look forward to this very much.
It's great to have you,
Awesome.
man. Oh, man.
Yeah. So Andres, you want to take away with the first question?
Let's do it. So, Dave, first of all, again, on my end, thank you so much for being on. And you're a legend, man. I mean, there's few people who were telling that this was going to happen that didn't know who you were. So that's pretty awesome to have you. I guess with everyone, we always kind of start out with like, how did you even end up selling books? Like, who's Dave Rosen that first year in college, just sitting there, and how did it happen? How did you even hear about Southwestern?
I think like it's probably similar to a lot of other folks' stories. I was at USF. I came out of an anthropology class, and there was a flyer, makes $670 a week, and I was so broke I couldn't pay attention, and I needed a job. Period. So that was good money to me. Sounded good to me. I didn't even read what it was about. I think it said run your own business, and I showed up at the interview, and I think I signed up. Halfway through, I was a lay down. I liked it very much, and
Cool.
I had a girlfriend. We had just moved to Florida, and then I got to tell her that I was going to leave. But it all went well. I paid rent and then some, and came back with a big check. It was the right thing to do. But that first experience was I needed a job. I was paying for my own school. I had no savings, and I needed to work, and this seemed like a great opportunity.
Whoa.
Very cool. Very
That's
cool.
pretty awesome. And I mean, you said you brought a big check, so you were obviously the number one first year. And like, at what point did you know, okay, I'm coming back for more? Like, was that right away, or did they have to like convince you?
I would still pick up a sample case today. I wasn't. I was one of those that I did it for 10 years. If they kicked me out, I think I would still be selling books.
Yeah.
It was incredibly beneficial to me. I got to learn a lot about myself, but I had 30,000 sales presentations before I entered the workforce.
Oh yeah. Where was that first summer, by the way? Just because I'm curious about how that whole journey went.
We lived in Geneseo, New York.
Oh my gosh,
Okay.
That was my first summer.
Well, there you have it. So you ran into my books.
Nice.
But I sold in Attica, Dansville, that whole upstate New York area.
I sold in Wellsville. My first
beautiful.
in that area.
Cool.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's awesome.
Yeah, no.
Sold upstate, but not that part of the state. It's pretty awesome. So that first summer was pretty.
So yeah, you knew you wanted to come back. I was gonna say, you're like, I got to do this again.
Yeah, I didn't learn enough.
Yeah.
What you learn a lot about yourself at this, and I realized I had some. Well, we got to avoid that, right? Sorry, did you see that interruption? Or
Oh, what was that?
Oh, good.
No.
I had someone just call in. It was a bill collector.
Okay.
So I got rid of
that. Yeah. That's funny.
Go back. I lost my train of thought.
No, when like you said that, did you know right away you wanted to come back? I mean,
Yeah. Yes. Again, you learn a lot about yourself, and I learned that I needed to work on myself.
Yeah.
And I learned. I have a super muscle, and it's self-discipline, and I developed it over 10 years at Southwestern, and it is, I'm a video gamer, and
Nice.
there's a lot of surgeons out there that say that they would not be half the surgeon they were if they weren't gamers when they were kids. And there are psychologists and studies that say that there are some things you can't teach a kid. This teaches them persistence more than anything. In other words, my kids will quit. Anything gets hard, but no, for 1,000 times in a row for 12 hours, they'll try to climb over that bridge or shoot that person. And so video games may be the only way you can train this type of persistence into a kid. Maybe. Now, I'm not here to pitch video games, but I am here to pitch selling books.
Nice.
Because I think that there may be only one way to teach this type of persistence, person of your word. All you have is what you say and how you act. There used to be many other ways. When I was around, there was, the Cutco knives, but they practiced on their friends and family and still do.
Right.
Not strangers. But there was Britannica, there was Kirby vacuum cleaner, and there was Fuller brush. You might have heard of some of these, and there was a photo company, Olin Mills, started door to door. So I think that this direct selling and all of the training that it takes to get through it, be successful at it, is a unique training, and probably the only way we can get it.
Well, it's interesting, Dave, because it's not just the act of doing the door-to-door, because I'm in door-to-door solar sales right now, and there's plenty of opportunities there, and with alarms and everything with that. It's the sheer amount of hours that you put in as a book person. And I listened to a little bit of your advanced sales before we got onto the episode today, but you specifically talked about how it's your schedule. Your student manager, Mike Keeling, he would always say, what's the most important thing? Your schedule, right? Okay, we'll meet next week and we'll talk about your most important thing. And you're saying 86 hours a week is what you'd put in on doors.
Crazy.
Wait, and when I was young, and it's why young people fight our wars, I was ready to learn, and I didn't have any experience, but I needed the money. Like I had made this decision. I couldn't not work. So I really gave myself to all of the success principles that were being taught. Yeah. And they told me 80 hours a week. I better just do a little bit better than that. They told me, demos. So I was blind, and in a good way, and I went for it. And I remember my first week, I quit early on Saturday, and I came home and it was light out still. And I thought I had just committed the ultimate sin on earth. And my student manager came home, Mike Tien. I said, Mike, I've got to talk to you, man. I got to talk to you. And I'm like, I quit a couple hours early. He's like, oh man, don't worry about it. It's you'll get it back next week or something. Just kind of let it roll off. And I said, I don't think I did very well either. And he goes, well, how'd you do? And I said, I did 212 units. And he said, oh, well, that's okay. And,
on Saturday? On Saturday?
No, I was done. Yeah. No, this was total.
For the week.
But still, he's like, okay, that's
pretty
okay.
good.
But he didn't let me know it was great. He was a perfect. He knew it was good. He went back and went, oh my God, that's good. But he was an excellent manager in managing me. But not too hard on me. And again, when you're a roommate with a first year, that had to be so difficult. And then I really started selling books. So
being on schedule.
Well, so that was I say that schedule is it for me still, even to this day. When I want to do something, first I set up the schedule.
Of course.
And I set my goals. What do I want to do? It's not sustainable, right? These schedules, you need to have breaks. That's the thing about, I couldn't sell books
right
all year round. So I had to come up with a way to do sustainable work 12 months out of the year, using the same principle. But
of course,
we're not always super busy all year round. So I have certain flex points in the year, certain busy times when I have to do things where I can't fail again. So what do? Dust it off. I set up a schedule. Here's what I'm going to do. Here's how I'm going to accomplish it. Here's the time. And then I go to my super muscle and I get that self-discipline kicking. I don't compromise. And so when I set out, I just do it and I don't think about it. And that's what they taught me. I said it. I said I was going to do it. I go do it. I don't
Yeah.
worry too much about it in between.
Wow.
So that's really awesome to hear, because I think of you going through the process of being the number one first year. I'm sure you grew a little bit your second and third summers at least, right?
Oh,
And then
sure.
that fourth summer, how did that fourth summer kind of progress into what it was? And kind of tell us this. I know
Sure.
it like had other summers after that that kind of blur everything together, but that was a special summer, wasn't it?
It certainly was. And you know, it all
And where
came
was it?
together. It was in Hannibal, Missouri during a drought.
Hannibal, Missouri. Oh, during a drought.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was kind of all, and I had one awesome roommate, Pat O'Segan, who
Cool.
he was a very experienced guy. And so we had two experienced people living in the headquarters. What was different? It wasn't. I built on each summer. And, you know, these things you need to learn. That's why you have to sell many summers, for those of you that are listening. You have to sell many summers because you have to bring a girlfriend out on the book field and learn that mistake. You know, I brought a 110-pound German Shepherd out on the book field, and that was a mistake. And so, you know, these kinds of things, and then turf, the way you work turf, and the way, you know, I have no sense of direction. We didn't have GPS. I couldn't mark deliveries. So I had to figure out really how to cash out everybody.
Yeah.
And I had, because I didn't want 3 weeks of deliveries, and I couldn't find them if I had them. So, which means I had to stay ahead of my inventory. And that's one of the things to this day in my current company and business. Inventory control is something I'm a freak about, and always have been. So I can't sell the books if I don't have them. So, so all of those things, after a few summers, I really got good at. I get my number one skill is avoiding non-prospects to this day, and it keeps everybody positive. If I can get in and out of the conversation quickly with respect, knowing that you didn't want to talk to me anyway, and move on, then you're happy I stopped by. You're also happy I was brief, and I get to go spend my time with someone that wants to talk to me.
Right.
Yeah.
And
keep it happy.
It kept my whole attitude correct. It also put me in control, where I decided who I spoke to. Now, I didn't, you know, if someone was negative, I'd still show the books. Maybe I'm wrong, but I wouldn't go in the house.
Demo in. Yeah.
I wouldn't go in the house. And you know, at the height of my career, I was closing 1 out of every 1.2.
Sit downs or demos or what?
Yes.
Dang,
but I wouldn't
impressive.
sit down unless I knew they were going to buy. So it was it was a
sense.
meeting. It was a meeting at the door, and I became really good at whether I should go in or not. And again,
That's so
if I wasn't
interesting.
sure, I'd sell the books at the door, and oftentimes sell them at the door.
That's awesome.
You know, I wrote down a couple of things just out of that, but moving from there to the summer that the stars lined up and the seas parted, and no one said no. You know, I needed to learn, you know, a few things, and I like all those phrases that we're still repeating today. We're back in 1868. They were repeating the same darn phrases, right?
Right.
I want to win. Right? I still say I want to win. To this day, all my kids say, I want to win. They all go, win what? Everything. I want to win. But you know, I've added a few things in my days, and I have a few sayings that I come up with, but I like one that the way you do anything is the way you do everything.
Yeah.
And so the schedule that I would set up was just Southwestern schedule. I'd get up, I'd do push-ups and sit-ups. I'd take a cold shower. I'd be at my breakfast place by 7. I'd do the Bookman song. I'd be at my first door by 8, and I took it religiously. Like I would fail if I didn't. And all of a sudden it became a schedule, just like I run now every other day. And I haven't missed that for years. So, you know, I'm afraid if I do, you know, I'll never run again. So you know, these types of schedules, again, some are sustainable, some aren't. My running schedule is. I run every other day. So far, so good. That's mostly, you know, I'm not a great manager. I wanted to touch on it because a lot of Southwestern and the real work is going and recruiting and managing. And without my great manager, I wouldn't have developed into the person or the salesperson that I am. but I wasn't good at, I want to say I was the pure, like I had to close, and I wanted to get out there, and I wanted to create that probability chart where I'm hitting 1 out of 6 at first, then 1 out of every 1. I was into that.
Yeah.
And if I had someone following me, it
Did
ruins
you
your
keep track
style
of
a
that?
little bit, right? Yeah, no.
Yeah.
I still did it because Southwestern makes you do it.
Of course, gold card.
But if you're going for a company record and you're locked into things, you think, if I wear the wrong T-shirt, I'm going to miss. What's this person that's following me going to do?
Yeah.
But I still did it. And so, getting the long answer to your question, how do you set the company record? When is that breakout moment for anyone? And you don't have very many years. Most people only sell 4 years. So, I always like to say, how good am I? And each summer I could point out a lot of things I could have done better. I had scheduled down, but there were a lot of things that I could have done better. I spent too much time in the house. I didn't show enough packages. I got stuck. I got stuck, here and there, and I knew that I just got into bad habits. So I stripped everything down in '89, and we had a solid roommate. We had great turf, and we had plenty of it. One of the very disruptive things was when you run out of turf and you have to move. So we had enough for the whole summer. I had my roommate picked. We were a good far away from the Sunday meeting, where there weren't a lot of books in the turf.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So we were a good 4 hours away from any central place. So I had the opportunity to say, hi, my name is, and they didn't know what I was doing.
Yeah, right.
So that was super special. And then kind of made these commitments that I'm going to go out there and strip down to basics, and boom, hitting all of that, hitting the 3 summers of experience, having schedule down, never breaking, learning to avoid non-prospects, stick and move. I've said it then, and I'll say it now, that I had a little watch, and I said, I find most people are real friendly as long as they don't take much of their time. I said that at the door. Let me start that real quick.
Yeah.
Beep. And 10 minutes later, it goes off. Damn. And I stand up.
Gotta go.
And they say, no, hold on. But it kept my mind right. And I said, no, I'll turn it off. Okay, I'll stay. All of a sudden I'm going through it, but I was respectful of their time at all the time. Yeah, and I had to move. We're selling $200 set of books. That was back, when books were cheap. But we had to sell a lot of them to get to the numbers I needed to hit.
Of course.
So
how many units was it?
It was 14,000 units, 13.6 or something like that.
Sure.
But the record was Michelle Maloney's, and I just had to, that was my aim. And I met with Zizzy before in sales school at the top of that building where we go to President's Club.
Right.
And we kind of made a commitment, and we challenged each other, and wow, it was a thing. Over those summers, I learned to make the book stick.
Okay.
And so when you're a great salesperson, you can close anybody.
Right.
But that right of rescission.
Cancellations. Yep.
And as it turns out, later on in life, that matters too. When you take a commitment from somebody, if your commitments and your collections are out of whack and you have a deep discrepancy, your spreadsheet doesn't add up.
Right.
Nope.
What was my point?
You said that you made the book stick, so like you're.
So in past, I had a lot of cancellations, and I knew
going closing into everybody, right?
And I knew going into this summer that I had to make them stick. And Zizzy wrote up more books than I did, and mine stuck.
There you go.
And I was really, really careful with almost making them beg me to show them at that point, saying, Mary, I know how it works in my house. My mom makes these decisions about this stuff, but if Jim comes home, what happens when he says you had a book man here and you bought books, and what are you going to do with them? And she goes, and if they gave me and like, well, you might have something there, I would say, okay, let me come back. And I was super organized with my pre-approach, and I would leave. And I would walk out of that house in a minute and move on, because I got burned so many times with that. But if they looked at me and said, he doesn't even know what I buy. Well,
Sure.
then I pull out the books,
Bingo.
and you still are fooled. They promise that they can make all the decisions. You still have to answer objections. You still have to do all that. But I was a technical salesperson. I just read the books. I learned I memorized the sales talks. I learned the cycle of the sale. I learned why we went through the cycle of the sale. I still teach this today in a different way, but I always knew where I was in the cycle of the sale.
Right.
And so I was super technical. And then after lots of practice, call it 4 summers, then it became natural. And so when I hit this great turf with this positive roommate, with all of these things I wanted to work on with myself, with great cash outs, with showing more packages, with targeting younger families, with being super organized on my pre-approach. So from 9 a.m. till 5 a.m., I really found out who the double income workers were, when they were home, and I went after those young kids so I could sell big packages. And I just stuck to the plan. I still am a fan of the saying, plan your work and work your plan.
Yeah.
So that, it was experience met opportunity in Hannibal, Missouri. And
there you go.
And I was able to close, meaning finish it off, make the book stick, finish and win.
There you go.
That is so crazy, because like that's it, over the years, and it wasn't like I didn't sell a ton of books in my career, but like I had moments where it was pretty decent, and like I could never even imagine like selling 1,500 units in a week. Like that level of discipline that you must have been bananas. I mean, it was just crazy.
And once you hit this, I used to call it an energy ribbon. Like once you hit this, you're like hydroplaning. So I had one day that's very special in my life, and Dave Stanley was following me. Shout out to Dave Stanley. We went 16 for 16 in like 450 units or 500 units. No one said no. Everyone bought the whole bag.
That's the whole bag, man.
And I cashed out everybody. And it was just one of those days.
That's a full day.
One of those days, and they all stuck. All those books stuck, and any cancellations, and so it made for a good week. But I'm telling you all the amazing things. We all know the bad things. The beautiful thing about this training is you can't shortcut. If you shortcut, the results are there. And that's what's so unique about that book person that you were referencing before, that you meet on the road or bump into. It's a code. It's a code, meaning I know that if you tell me something, you're not lying.
Yeah.
And
you've lived in a fishbowl.
And if you tell me you're going to get something or do something or be something, I believe you, because we kind of cut all that crap out. Right? Book people, if you lie to each other, that's terrible. You can't do that.
Oh, yeah.
Because that's all you have. When you strip down out on the book field, that's all you have. That's why you don't cut off your in traffic. It's why you don't give the bird.
Yeah.
It's why you're nice to everybody at the grocery store or the laundromat.
You're living in a fishbowl. Yeah, absolutely.
And, that's paid off so many times for me. Even fast forward to today, I meet people in the lounge at the airport, and they end up investing in my company. Just because I treated him with respect and was nice to him. So, you never know where your future is coming from, but the self-discipline muscle was formed by Southwestern.
And so there's like, I remember in your advanced sales, you also talked about this a lot, but like heading into that summer, you were competing with Zizzy, and that was like very beneficial too. But there was also this like resolve in your head that you knew that was what you were going to do. So how did you like convince yourself? Because you said you jumped like 6,000 units or something. So like, what was there like a moment? Was there like or was it just spread out? But like, was there a moment, a day that you remember where you're like, I know this is going to happen now? Like 3 months ago.
I think it's similar. I had all the component parts. And for whatever reason, they weren't firing on all pistons, to where I hit that full throttle, whether that was turf, attitude, learning curve, whatever it was, I didn't have it all. Once I put it all together, and that's really what it is. I'm a positive guy, period. And I like those books that talk about you set your goal and then you don't worry about it. I like that I want to do this. I write it down. I look at it. I don't tell too many people. I review it, but then I don't worry about it. I don't stress, am I going to hit my goal? Am I going to be number one in the country? Am I really going to do this? I relax and manage my statistics. So how many demos? When did I get up? I set my schedule.
Yeah.
I do my push-ups. I do my sit-ups, and I let it come. Now I don't miss an opportunity, but I let it come. So I'll sell the cookbook along the way, and I'll close everybody. But I certainly will maximize my opportunity and try to, again, during gravy, hit those young families and stick and move. You only have so much time on the book field. You only have so much time during the day, and you only have so much time on this earth. So, time management is certainly another thing. So all those things came together in 1989. And, it was quite incredible. How did I increase? How did I get my mind right? We set goals. Both Zizzy and I set them. So did everybody. Pat O'Segan, by the way, my roommate, had his best summer ever. He had been selling for about eight years.
Wow.
So yeah, we stripped down to basics and just went to work.
What was that's a beautiful testament to the bedrock of the program that's lasted close to 2 centuries now.
Ours demos attitude.
Oh yeah, 30 of them a day, right? So that's really cool that you were able to speak to that, because I'm curious, how was it following up that summer? And obviously you didn't break the company, right? I mean this in a positive way, but
not at all.
that was your best summer, right?
It was for sure my best summer, and the last 6 were denouement. It's a ton of pressure. A team that wins the championship, coming back and trying to repeat that effort. That pressure was tremendous, and if you don't hit your first week, you're done. You can still have a great summer, but I'm talking about breaking a company record. You only have 13, you miss one. It's so tough. So you don't give up, you don't quit. But that kind of pressure of not hitting it right away, running into books, what's up? How am I going to do this? And I didn't see a path. Then I just relaxed and finished the summer and did my thing. I'll say that summer in Lincoln, Nebraska, you couldn't put in any demos, right? There's 4 people that live there in the county. So
that was outside of Lincoln. Come on now.
Correct. I was in the country outside of Lincoln.
There's 3 people.
I get eight demos a day. And so, you're darn right, I got good at closing. And I got really good at my schedule, because you had to rely on all those basics my roommate then was Ed Rohn. Shout out to Ed. We were super disciplined, never broke schedule. It was one of my most rewarding summers out of all. And they all kind of link together. I kind of look at it as one career, not what happened my 7th summer, 8. My God, you're supposed to graduate college by then.
Some people don't.
But I do remember I took a job selling law books to lawyers for Clark Boardman Callahan. Back in the day, a lot of book people did that. And my dad had a heart attack. I was living in Louisiana. I wanted to come back and kind of hang out with him and be closer to him. So I took this job. My turf was the Quad Cities out to I-80. And I became interested and I was selling to lawyers. And I went, if these guys can be lawyers, I'll go be a lawyer. So I was living across the street from DePaul University. I said, DePaul, how long till I'm a lawyer? and I had 160 hours of undergraduate credit from 5 different institutions. It didn't add up to one. And the counselor said 2 years till you're an undergrad. So I sucked it up. I went to undergraduate school, and I got the bug for politics. And
Really?
And so while I was studying there, President Clinton's campaign manager, David Wilhelm, was teaching a class. I got to know him, and that's how I got into my next career. But the thing is, they couldn't pay me. They didn't have any money. So you're volunteering, and I'm not a rich kid, right? I had to work for everything. So that's the why. How can you work for free in Hollywood, in politics? How can you work for free? Who can afford to? You're limited to only rich people and senators' kids that can have that kind of opportunity. Well, I couldn't work for free either. So what did I do? I sold books. So I went up to northern Maine, where my mother was born, and I lived in my mother's hometown.
What?
And I did 10 summers, 10,000 units I'm sorry, 10 weeks, 10,000 units.
Oh, wow.
I took that money, I put it in my pocket. I went to meet the campaign on the trail. And it was an incredible summer. I walked on my great grandfather's grave. There was no door. I got in every door.
Oh man.
It was a small town. You know, I walked into
So they knew your mom too, right?
Oh yeah, I was demonstrating the books, and I see a picture of my great grandfather on the mantle. The lady worked in the nursing home. My mom was a nun for 11 years, a Franciscan nun, yes, Catholic, and kicked the habit. But I got to go to her. But I got to go to her convent, and I got to meet her sisters, and it was a super amazing summer. It was no stress. I didn't go to Sunday meeting, but you should. Right. But I did. Yeah. It was too far. It was too far of a drive. People came to follow me, and I had 2 super experienced roommates, Bert Bragan and Liz Regan. So and we just went to business. It was an amazing summer without any stress, any pressure. I wasn't trying to set the company record. I was in my family's hometown, and as good as you can get it.
Wow.
When I was my student manager in maybe his 4th or 5th summer, they all went to Alaska and sold for a summer.
Oh yeah.
And had one of those real special experiences where it was unique and different. That was my 10th summer, and I didn't look back after that. Even though my hand still shakes in May when I sales school.
When the birds are chirping, right?
So let me get this straight. So you're telling me that while you were selling your last few summers, you were going to college so you could be a lawyer, and then when you met the head of the campaign for the Clintons, you were like, I need money. So you just go and make $50,000 at the time?
Yes.
And then go campaign with
I met him on the campaign trail, and then they hired me after I volunteered for a while. Then they hired me for $17,900 annually.
So this is 1995.
95, yes, on the reelect. So I worked on the reelect of Bill Clinton in 95, and we raised $50 million, $60 million. We did very well.
That's fun.
It was but all of that training was just, I don't know how anybody raised money in politics without having sold books door to door for 10 summers. But yeah, it became my next passion. And cool. Books were my passion for sure. I never found it a drudge, even though we all still have the book dream where we didn't deliver the damn books. So that's still
the book nightmares. Yeah,
that still happens.
Still happens in 2020. Yeah,
it still happens. Yeah. It was that intense. But my next passion was politics, and I learned a whole bunch and worked in it for 26 years, and now my third career, I'm in business, and all of these things that I'm telling you that I learned in Southwestern, I use every day in both when I worked in politics, and you never really get out. And now I'm an entrepreneur. I'm a cannabis entrepreneur, and we have 125 employees, 8 licenses in 4 states, and we're on the move.
Yeah. So and that's that's what's so cool. I mean, with this podcast that we've been able to like kind of see where people have gone. I mean, we've seen some pretty amazing, successful book folks that just went on and did great things. And so, one of the things that we always ask them is like, what would you say? I mean, obviously, probably the schedule, like you were talking about, but were there times where you thought, man, this is, if we just you do the Southwestern thing, it'll work, and then it ended up working, whether in your politics career or in your cannabis career? Were there
With
times
schedule
where,
and discipline
yeah, like
and all
It always
those
works. It,
principles.
it always
Of
works.
course.
It's a guarantee. That whole thing about, there's no guarantee in sales. Yeah, there is. I get 1 out of 6, and that's if I'm average. So you're guaranteed. You just have to go out there and go
Go to work. Yep.
Was there? Yeah,
'cause you were super successful.
schedule. All of this allows me to be successful in whatever I'm going to do next. It helps me with my 4 kids.
Yeah.
Managing expectations. Again, learning how to just teach them how to work hard, praising work effort. You bring me a nice piece of art. It ain't so nice, okay? But what do I praise? I praise and I say, oh my gosh, that must have taken you an hour, right? That's a long, no, it only took me a half hour. No, wow, I can't, that must have taken you a long time. So always praising work effort. And even to this day, I manage by statistics. You don't manage how many people sold or what they did. You manage how many hours, what was their punctuality rate? How long have they been with us? How many years have they worked? All of these other statistics. So there's not a thing you specifically that I can point to that said this book thing worked, but all of it works, right?
Okay,
of course.
All of it. So I hear a lot of in my life about, oh, you guys were in that cult.
Yeah.
And you know what? This is
comes up on every episode.
But think about it. Is the military a cult? Is a
little bit, right?
Well, very good. But is a sports team a cult? So what I would say is that for us, let's call it a club. You can call it a cult. But
there you go.
But what do we? But in this cult, what do you replace it? What are we praying to in this cult? Success principles.
Right. Of course.
Right.
Okay. Well, that's bipartisan.
Oops.
And okay, so I'm in a success principle club.
Yes.
Guilty.
I mean, that's exactly how it evolved into in certain ways as time went on. When Andres and I were in the business, sales manager Lester Crafton, for example, he turned the Southwestern Principles into a program called LEAD, where students on campus would basically mentor other friends on campus during the school year and be like, hey, we're going to go make a ton of money selling books, and then just go and crush it. And it was kind of a hard thing for them to really pull off and make successful, but you're right in saying that these principles are baked into everything. So yeah, what would you say? Go ahead, Andres.
No, I was going to say it's pretty interesting because like it's just a common thread that I've noticed with people that we've talked to on this thing. I mean, you were super successful in politics. Your company's kicking ass right now. Like it's in your. I mean, it's just it wasn't an accident that this is happening, right? It's not like
not at all. And a lot of things that we learn, all of us learn. We spend the money, right? We blow the money. Yeah. We learn how to make money. That's one. We learn how to make money. 2, we learn how to create business, our own business. So. If I've got a turf, I've got to work, whether I was selling wind power. Nice. At the same doors, I was selling books.
Nice.
So
no way.
Driving the same ridge. Right.
Wow.
So but I knew how to cut up the turf.
Yeah.
And
awesome.
Even to this day, when I work field work in politics, I know how to cut up the turf. I still work school district by school district. It's brilliant way to network.
Everybody knows everybody.
People. So once you learn how to carve up turf, how to create business, how to start with zero, which we start with, writing a check for gas, and then you end up with, $80,000 check 13 weeks later. How does that happen? Now, I spent the money many times over. What I didn't spend is what it took to make the money. One, I learned how to make it. I knew I could make it again. So it gave me a sense of confidence that whatever I did next, I could make money. I could create business. I could not quit, and I could yield results through persistence. That's what it, now, when I hire people, if you can find confidence, if you can avoid insecurity, and that's what Southwestern teases out that. So you become secure. And I would say the number one thing I try to avoid in business is doing business with insecure people. So
Interesting.
So that's, it taught me to be secure, to be confident in my step, to stand up for myself in the workplace, to follow my passion, and all of a sudden the work isn't so hard. So yeah, books were my passion. I loved it. I still do. Politics, I can't get out. I still, I don't follow sports. I can tell you where, every alderman went to high school. I can tell you, all of those stats. It's still my passion. And
what's the level of politics that you play? I'm sorry to interrupt.
No, not at all. I was President Clinton's finance director, Al Gore, General Clark, Hillary Clinton, Governor Davis, Vilsack, Cuomo, Quinn, 30 members of Congress, all levels.
Wow,
and
how'd
you
work your way up to that from like $17,900?
I raised money. And how did I learn how to raise money? Southwestern.
Knock on doors. Yeah. I mean, that was the whole experience of taking those summers to actually pay for your political career. So do you have an interest in just kind of like staying behind the scenes and raising funds and kind of helping network that way? Or
yes, until there's another way to win. Yes. And I still like to teach people how to do it. I still am super active, and it's greatly beneficial. My new business, Cannabis, it's very political. So, it helps me that I have the ability to speak to legislators, to speak to regulators, to speak to investors. All of that kind of came together, and then we're taking an illegal business legal. Holy cow!
Right.
We're creating a lot of the systems. We're the model, the template. So, we're the only union company in Las Vegas in cannabis, a very union town, but we provide pensions, free college, high hourly wage, vision and dental insurance to all of our employees. People work for us, they make a lot of money, and so do we. It's okay to do well and good at the same time. And I believe that this is the way you build the middle class back. There's three good jobs or three new jobs out there now: Uber, Lyft, and cannabis. The first two aren't so good. Yeah. And so now we're going to decide where millions and millions of people are going to work in this space. We're engineers, we're farmers, we're manufacturers, we're architects, we're lawyers, we're compliance personnel. And so, that's where all of this kind of comes to play now. Every day I use this because there's no room for error. Again, we don't have a bank that will lend us the money.
Right.
Because it's federally illegal, but we have to build a $20 million facility.
Right.
How do you do that? So
put an ATM in each one as well, right?
knock on doors.
Hours that wanted
So you start a friends and family round, and so fundraising is always part of everything I've done.
Right.
Very cool.
So how did you get into cannabis? I mean, was it to talk to us a little bit about that? Because by the way, not all heroes wear capes, man. I moved to Oregon and I am happy here for a lot of reasons. That being one of them. That is like,
cannabis is nice.
and it's the industry here. So, and realize I moved from Nebraska where it's not legal.
Probably never will be, right?
And
it'll be the last day.
To do it. Yeah. And so to go from like there to here where it's like, so it's advanced. Like in Portland, there's like the dispensaries are super well done. They're super well decked out. I mean, you still have your mom and pop shop looking ones, but like the super nice ones, it's a beautiful environment. The way that they describe and know what each thing does is really cool. And so for you, how did you get into that? Had you always been interested in them? I know you said you got it.
No, not at all. So my last campaign I worked on was the governor of Illinois, and we won. And then some friends came and said, I want to start a business. We started a business, and it was a pharmaceutical benefits management company along with a couple others. We ended up growing that, and I got introduced to pharmacy that way. And I really enjoyed starting businesses. Healthcare is a giant issue, but cannabis seemed to have it all for me. We were selling Oxycontin and Viagra, all very important legal drugs.
Yeah.
But it wasn't my passion. But on the other side, we've been locking up the wrong people for the last 50 years, decimating families, and really screwing things up. So for me, it was this policy of, how do we make this legal? This entrepreneurial exercise where I knew he didn't have to introduce a new product. It's 10,000 years old. Every grandmother's making a tea with it. And there's great pent up demand. We've been prescribing it in our hospitals till 1929. So it was part of our healthcare system before. It's now part of our healthcare system again. And so I saw that as the kind of amazing opportunity, the entrepreneurial opportunity, the ability to correct some wrongs, some ills in society, and then to be able to rebuild the middle class. And yes, I'm passionate about cannabis itself. It is a calming for those that use it for medicine. If you have, certainly during the pandemic, people suffered from sleep, from anxiety, from pain. This plant directly treats those symptoms. If you take it any further to epilepsy, to some of this amazing treatment, some of the treatments being done in other countries, it's quite incredible. But I wasn't around when Railroad was rolled out. I wasn't here when the internet became such an amazing thing and the high tech companies were launched. I was here, but I didn't get to participate. Cell phones. This is that type of tectonic thing. Millions and millions and millions of people are going to be working in this industry globally. And
for a long time.
I get a chance to be in there. We developed and patented our own equipment, so we recycle and reclaim our water.
That's so cool.
So in the times where drought is everywhere, we recycle and reclaim our water. So the average grower uses 20 million gallons a year. We use 10,000. So all these kind of best practices. Yeah. So all these best practices. Again, let's tie it back to Southwestern. My inventory control system.
Yeah.
My efficiency for sure. No room for error. Again, if you screw up your 12th week, you're not going to hit your goal. So all of those, setting up redundancies, hiring the right people, making those employees, like any sale, making that sale stick, having these employees where they go through a nice vetting process, then offered great benefits, vision and dental insurance, paternity and maternity leave, free college. And now guess what? Nobody steals, nobody quits. And in an industry that's brand new, we've had a long-term workforce that's very mature. It's really the strength.
Wow.
Yeah, that's powerful stuff. Watch out for Dave and his cannabis project.
Yeah, the name. When you get to Vegas, y'all get the Bookman discount. The store is named Jenny's. We're in Bend, Oregon.
Nice.
We're in Las Vegas, and the cultivation facility in the company is named Wave Sear and Pure Extracts.
Gotta go take a weekend trip over to Bend.
Well, you're invited.
Oh yeah. I'll be like, hey, Dave sent me something about the Southwestern Rosen discount.
You're in.
Well,
that's awesome.
You'll definitely have some interested parties that might want to work with you too, Dave. So
well, we're hiring at all times, and guess who we're hiring? Right, we're hiring a route salesperson to go wholesale to wholesale, and these jobs are well paying. It's commission. I'm training, and you have a finite amount because of these licenses. You only have 70 licenses or 120 licenses in the state, so those are your sales prospects. Right?
Of course.
Right.
And so, it's we're hiring salespeople all the time, and this wholesale sales is like a pharmaceutical sales. You're going business to business, having a route, carving up the turf, closing, and then satisfying those accounts and managing.
Yeah. Did you find that is it easy to get into a certain states? Like what's that process like? If you wanted to open up a new state that just legalized,
no, it's impossible. No, it's impossible. It's so difficult. we were lucky. We started early, so nobody wanted to do it. And so, we got really high scores on our application. And there wasn't this fierce competition because there's great reputational risk with, this is 2014. So nobody wanted to even say the word marijuana.
Right.
And so you have great reputational risk to even get started. But, since we've been in, it was incredibly difficult, but we didn't have that much competition. Now we haven't won, we still try. We compete. These are competitive process, call it 1,000 applicants to get, 10 licenses. The odds are very difficult. So for lots of reasons, now big money's there. Canada legalized cannabis. So there's a lot of these companies are now on the Canadian stock exchange. There's big money in it, and they're able to spend a lot more money on the applications themselves and preparing for it. So we're happy with what we've won. And over the last 7 years, we've spent a lot of time developing best practices so we're sustainable, both as a company in a sustainable way, but also that our employees and our schedules are sustainable.
Yeah.
So that's so cool. So how do you suspect that, and it's sorry to keep asking about this,
Not at all.
you know a lot about
love to talk about it.
Your job.
How do you suspect that, if let's say current administration would seem that they would hopefully legalize it federally, or when it does, how would that change this landscape in your opinion?
Well, in Canada, the stocks went 100-fold. You could cross province.
Sure. Wow.
You could cross province lines. You could get a bank. You could go public. So it changes everything. What people don't understand is, if you're going to go set up a watch factory, you don't go buy a factory, you lease it.
Right.
Right.
So here you have to buy the factory. And by the way, you can't get a mortgage because there's no bank.
Everything. Vertical integration here.
So it's really, really, really difficult to take this and to raise the funds. So there's 36 states now where it's legal. The majority of the adult population in the U.S. has access to legal cannabis. The remaining states, it's either pending, medical. There'll be 40 after the midterms next. This midterms coming up. Gay marriage had 26 before it became a federal law. So the tipping point of when it becomes a federal law, it's not a when, it's a for sure. There's millions and millions of dollars going into those states' coffers that you can't replace. All those good jobs, all those tax revenue that are being collected. What will change when it becomes federally legal is we'll be able to write down our business expenses. No other business or industry would have to put up with that. So we have taxes. we can't write off any business expense in our business.
Wow.
So a law firm couldn't survive that way. A restaurant couldn't survive that way. And so we're not able to take those deductions. It's a 1980s Reagan era law that stopped illegal drug dealers from writing off their factories and their trucks and their employees, which they did. Well, we still suffer from that. But last month, the Senator Booker, Senator Wyden, and I'm missing one. Why am I blanking? But the three of them came out, and Schumer, the majority leader, came out, and now they're pushing this legislation. So I think that it's imminent, that it will be federally legal, and then these efficiencies that we can set up. It might not be efficient to grow in the middle of a city where electricity is very expensive, labor. It might be more efficient to grow somewhere else and use these as distribution hubs. It might develop into a 3-tier system like the liquor system, where there's a manufacturer, an end user, and then this distributor in between.
Right.
So we'll see how this evolves. What we do know is when someone purchases our company, they're going to purchase a contract with it. Our employees are going to be well paid, and it'll just keep passing up. We're guaranteeing our employees in these towns that accepted us and our businesses that their employees are safe with us, and we'll look out after them. And whoever purchases it, whether it's a big pharmaceutical company, a liquor company, a tobacco company, or a beverage company, that these contracts go forward.
Well,
Wow.
Dave, I must say, this is a selfish plug, but if you want to power your weed with some sunlight, I got you.
We do, and we're in Nevada. So
Nice.
let's
Cool.
that's a conversation for another time.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Oh, I love that. That's so funny.
So,
Man, that's crazy. And
But all that sustainable stuff we're into, and
can tell.
again,
That's
all
awesome.
of our salespeople, we trained at the fundamentals. Everybody knows about the cycle of a sale.
Nice.
Yes.
Everyone, we start our conference calls on time.
course.
No one's late. It's all of this kind of the way you do anything is the way you do everything.
Yeah.
They all know about the book field and book stories, and ad nauseum, they're tired of hearing about it.
Augmendino, I will persist until I succeed. All that stuff.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
That's you. Sorry to changing gears real quick and thinking back, like kind of going back towards some Southwestern stuff. One of the things I just realized is you probably watched Mort Utley give a keynote address in person.
Oh, I knew Mort well.
Yeah.
And
That's
I
awesome.
remember when they named that 1,000-unit week the Mort Utley. I was at
No way.
Oh yeah, I was in the room with him. And,
What was he
oh
like?
no, we drive in the car with him and take him to different events. And oh no, I knew Mort.
Nice.
That's
awesome.
Quite an amazing guy.
So the
Yeah.
name of this podcast, of course, is inspired by his pony story, right? Of
Ponytail.
the
I
two
know
kids.
it well.
Oh,
Sure.
Yeah. Oh yeah, right. Do you tell that story to people these days?
Oh yeah, my kids hate it. They're so sick of that story. They like to change the ending.
No, really? Yeah. And he didn't find any pony anywhere, right?
Right.
No, something like that.
No, it is that attitude. But the pony, we talk about all the time. Sure, I've had many pony stories.
Did Mort always talk like that? Was it always like, or was it just?
He did. It makes me want to be a professional speaker. When I can never go to my fourth career,
Right.
the way he was prepared and the way he could motivate everybody.
Oh yeah.
And I saw him one time. He was robbed that day in Nashville, and he spoke at our President's Club dinner. And he talked about how he had $100 bill stuck in his wallet or in his belt buckle, so he was still cool. But he was not shaken. He was still professional, deeply passionate, and speaking to you. That's the thing, that I give 100% of my time to the person I'm speaking to. I learned that selling books. And there's a lot of people that look over their shoulder to see who just walked in the room, or people that are on their phone while you're speaking to them. It doesn't mean you can't have a conversation, but best practices is focus, be there, be present. And Mort was incredible. I knew him well, and John Locker knew him well, and our organization was close to him.
Wow.
That's awesome. Yeah.
That's so cool.
Currently, I'm in Arizona, and there's an old business partner of Mort's, Jim Leonard, out here in Mesa, Arizona. I'm not sure if you knew him, but I've heard plenty of stories secondhand from him where he's got like pictures with him and all that cool stuff. So legendary gentleman right there.
Oh, for sure.
Well, but you didn't do too bad when you recorded that Advanced Sales. I mean, that's like the most famous advanced sales tape in company. Well, besides maybe Mort's address that was recorded, like besides that, I think yours is the one that's like the most quoted. Yeah, I mean,
well, thank you. It's hard to listen to. I was very young. I was a teenager, and then taking it through. But there was something there, and I think that I started teaching this to politicians and other folk later on. It was just genuineness.
Right.
Pretty much authenticity and genuineness that came through with that. I had just finished the record. I was at the Greater Recruiter Seminar. I had a couple of notes on written down on a napkin, and I got up there, and the energy, I just fed off of it. And I was thrilled to be able to tell everybody about what I did that summer. And it really was a special speech. And I still get, every summer, people call me and quote it and tell me it and want me to send it to them. Yeah. So in Mort's, again, in my next career, I hope to refine these skills. I have good coaches that are available to me, and I look forward to again taking it on, understanding the basics, unpacking it, setting up a schedule, then practicing a bunch, and then getting good at it.
Yeah, man.
There you go. There you go.
That'll help you if you run for office or if you ever go like.
Oh, that's
back
it.
deep
And
into
there's a good idea. So that'd be a good thing to do too. And yes, it will help me.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, yeah.
I do stand-up comedy, and that's the way I've been sharpening those skills. But
Sure.
it's a thrill. It's a thrill when you get up and there's a room that's hot and they're like ready for you and expecting you. That's a fun environment
And
to be in.
they're smart. They're anticipating. And again, you can't bullshit that crowd. You have to be present. You have to focus, and you have to be there.
Dang. Dude, that's awesome. So, Nick, do you have any questions?
Well, I mean, it's been really cool to see the overarching narrative of how, like, the foundation, right? Anyone who's built anything, you know the importance of starting your youth strong. I mean, you did 10 summers that, like, any single person that I might find in the wild, if I were to find out that not only did they sell books, but for as many summers as that, it's like, what job couldn't you get or couldn't you make for yourself, right? So it's really cool to just kind of see the class of person that carries themselves that way. I'm working with a 10 summer book man right now. So it's really cool to kind of see the themes of schedule and those kinds of things. I'm kind of curious, as always with people on these things, is how did you have fun throughout it all? How did you, because you're a very entertaining, charismatic type of presence there, and it's always cool to hear about how, in spite of all this discipline that you need to endure, there's fun to be had.
It's fun, but no one likes not selling books. Everyone likes selling books. So, so
they like, yeah, right.
So it's fun to sell them. There's nobody that like closes. They give you the money. That's fun. So that's one. Two, I loved all those places that I lived. When I lived in Seward with Charlie and Vera Thoreau, who ran a detasseling business, who was the teacher in the school.
Nice.
Yeah, these people are really dear to me still, and when I pass through, I want to knock on their door. It was so many years ago. I'm afraid for what I find, but real special. What was your?
How'd you have fun? Like
what was, fun. Yeah. So living within, a lot of the people that I sold books to were people I went, wow, I'd like to be like them. I like the way they handled their kids. I like the way they handled their job. I like the way they talked to me and treated me with respect. And I fed off of people. Now, but I always had fun accomplishing goals. It's fun. It's just fun to, when you're, I don't get to compete in sports anymore because I'm too old, but I get to compete in business. It's just not so immediate. Books, you got to compete with people from Harvard and Yale and those bad schools. And I got to show them what a Blue Demon or a Brahma Bull could do on a level playing field with good turf. So I don't worry about things you can't control. It's the number one tenet for a lot of things. The 12-step program for
Alcoholics Anonymous,
many success principles. That I can't control that it rains. I can't control that the dog peed on my bag. I can't control that the dog bit me during the book field and I'm bleeding and I have to go to the hospital. Right? I can't control that my car breaks down. I can't control it. So as a young person, to learn not to stress and freak out and have your head spin around, and yes, we're crying in the cornfield, but we went back to work.
Yeah,
And
of course.
you got to practice on that as a young person, but you never forget those lessons. And that's why that fourth summer peaked. I got to put all those things together and hit the right place in the right time, and I maximized my opportunity. I feel I'm doing that same with cannabis. I feel like I've done that same exercise on campaigns where, I thought we were going to lose, but we won, and maximized our opportunity, and just, it was fun. So setting a goal, having incremental steps towards it is fun. It's fun.
There it is.
So, let's define fun. But for me, it's greatly gratifying, incredibly satisfying to take incremental steps towards a goal.
Absolutely.
To me, it's fun.
Do you,
Love it.
do you think that if you ever run for office, you just recruit a giant army of book people to co?
Well, I know we won't have a problem raising money. I'll tell you that.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I mean, because there's alumni in office, right? There's
Many.
Rick
Mary is
sold
very
books.
famous. Oh yeah.
Yeah, do you ever hang out with them?
When I meet them, it's that, we can do
Of
the
course.
rain dance. But sure, even I recruited one that's in office. One
Really?
of my recruits is a congressman in Louisiana. So
Oh wow.
yeah, and Marsha Blackburn. I mean, there's lots of very famous alumni. Ken Starr, his kid, Secretary Perry. But it's not like, we're in every walk of life, book people.
Oh yeah.
Well, we're everywhere, and because you just take those skills and put it towards your passion, and you'll be successful. So those folks had a passion for politics, took what they learned on the book field, and executed. These are not partisan success principles. These are success principles.
Yeah.
And so everyone should learn them. And like I said, it's these places where you can learn them are disappearing.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because, like a fraternity or a sorority, right? You are always a member of that club, right? We're always a member of the success club. And hearing about your stories has been just like a clear reminder of that. It's like you're always going to have the ability to apply these basics in order to just kind of rocket to a different stratosphere than most people who play the game.
It gave me one of my strengths is the ability to take risks. The reason I have the ability to take risks is because I know I can always pick up a sample case and go make $150,000.
Exactly. There you go. You know it.
That's
Had an alumni mentor, Shane Hertig. He talked about how if he were to be dropped out of a plane in the middle of some random forest somewhere and had nothing but a sample case and an order pad, he could go make some money and take care of himself.
We all learn that same skill. The top salesperson, the regular salesperson, everyone that goes through the program. That's why these success principles are so important.
Yeah.
Some were great recruiters, some were great salespeople, but we all learned not to lie, cheat, or steal, to look out for our neighbor, to look out for our community, to do what we say we're going to do.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And it's crazy because like that stuff that's what's like been distilled over the years, right? I mean, if you go look at a first year that's currently selling in Florida right now or whatever, like that's the same stuff that you picked up and I picked up and we sold throughout different decades, and it's been a common denominator. And at the end of the day, like people I've found, it's like, well, good, you sold a ton of units, but also you didn't sell that many units, but you still worked a lot of hours. And even that little bit of an experience, even if you didn't make a ton of money.
No question.
Finish the summer.
My sister sold books. She had a lot of pressure on her. She was Rosen's sister. And she quit after 6 weeks. To this day, she said it was her most valuable experience. That maybe I get her dream that I had to deliver the books, but she to this day she still had a very successful career in her life. Went on to be lots of things, but it was books. Even that experience, even not finishing, was still that important in her life.
Yeah, so for people like you who obviously did so well and were I feel like those people are also cut off of a different cloth, right? Like you hear about like the guys that did really well, the ones that we've talked to, and they're all like doing super great things in the world and have this fantastic mentality. And you guys you're all humble. Like it's like a common theme, man. Like I talk to you right now, and I wouldn't know like you're crazy successful. Like if I met you just hanging out, and it's like this guy worked for all these different people and all these different campaigns and did so well in so many things, and you're such a humble human being to just be talking to right now, man. That's awesome. Good for you.
Well, thank you. And again, you know, you're only good as the last door. You know, there's one other thing that I try to practice, and that is to not let people see me if I'm having a bad day and I'm just meeting them. I don't wear that on my sleeve. I used to keep a little smiley face in my visor, and it was a discipline because it's rude. It's frankly. So like my job is not to make you negative. You didn't have anything to do with the fight I just had, or the bill I had to pay, or or the employee I just had to take care of. The next person in front of me, you get a fresh start. You get a clean slate, and you get a smile, and you get a chance, and that smile is contagious. And I did it, and I still do it. And I try not to, when I come home and I walk in the house and I got 4 kids and chaos, and, you know, I smile first. And guess what comes back?
Smiles.
And if I said, you know, then we're all off. So it's to this day, I don't feel that they should be negatively impacted by anything that I went through prior to talking to them.
Wow. Yeah, that's
great insight to share there. Love it.
Wow. Well, I mean, I think we're getting close to.
Oh, come on! I wanted to talk about, you know, when I went to high school. I'm teasing.
Well, no, I was gonna say we're getting close. To, we call this the pony story, like the moment, because I mean, I think everybody's been different. People have given us really cool stories about their favorite customer, their most memorable memory, like on the book field itself. Other people has been like, hey, this is. If I had to leave behind any last message for people selling books or otherwise, this is what I would say from my experience in Southwestern politics, cannabis. Feel free to like and usually we allow like 15, 20 minutes for this part because it's usually like the cool thing. But is there like something that you would say like, man, of all the things that I've experienced in my life, of everything I've encountered, everything I've overcome, like this would be the legacy I wish I left behind, or this is the thing that like the grand slam. We call it the pony story.
You know, if we can tease out insecurity, and you manifest this, you make this up. That's not true, right? Right. Insecurity is it's a made up paradigm that I'm not good enough. I'm not smart enough. What if I fail? And you tease that out or get rid of it or tap it down, because we always, you know, think, my hair's not right, or, you know, we still have to always care about what people think. But being secure and independent is a goal in itself. Being secure and independent is a goal in itself. And so the way you tap down insecurity is through action. Action precedes feeling.
Yeah.
So you want to be happy, act happy. So action precedes feeling. The way we purge insecurity or tap it down is through action and doing.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that less words, more doing, you know, measure with deeds. And in doing, being active, not talking, doing. By doing, whatever it is, these incremental steps towards success, whether you succeeded or not in that project, you succeeded in tapping down this insecurity. And what do you replace with insecurity but security? So
confidence.
And I can move to Portland and do something because I know that I can go to Portland and succeed. I can move to Arizona and start a business because I know, not a question. Now you still have fears, you still have, question marks. And then there's that little insecurity that always wants to jump up there. But action precedes feeling. The more you do, the less you have time to think about, double think, be anxious over things.
Mm-hmm.
So then if you're going to do, I don't mean just go out there and build a house, go and set a goal and then break it down. What are the things I need to do to get to that goal? Okay, I want to buy a car. I need to make this money. I need to work this many hours. I need to save this much. I need to do this. And then every day when you actually do it, oh my God, how much fun is that? Right? When I want to lose 5 pounds and I actually do the things and I do it and I got down to, I lost a pound that day. It's fun.
Yeah.
and
you want to live yourself a life.
And again, now I have the confidence that I can do it again, which taps down the insecurity even more. If I know I can repeat success, then it doesn't matter what in place. This pandemic, the same thing. We all had to figure out a new way, a pivot, a transition, some other way to do the things that we needed to do. We're all still standing. This is an incredible thing that we all went through and are still going through. But when you strip down to basics and fundamentals, I wake up in the morning, I eat breakfast, I'm at work, I do my first call. I try to do the most important thing in the morning. So I wake up and I try to do the most important thing I have to do that day first, get that out of the way. And I do that every day. It sounds boring. And then I run every other day. But I got to tell you, it's fun. And to see my kids now, my son is 15. He's caddying. He's, having a hard time. People are mean to him. He wants to quit. To see him develop and learn these skills. He's an athlete. It's so rewarding. And the way he learned them, yes, I preached it, but he saw me do it. So more action, less words. And it's the magic formula for whatever you're going to do. Just do. And, at the end, it ain't bragging when you're done it. It's okay to talk. It's okay to talk about it after.
Matter of fact.
And when you're with friends and family, you can say, "Man, I kicked ass. That was great." But mostly it's incremental steps. It's daily living, man. Like every day is Secretary's Day. Love it.
Now, I'm going to be selfish and re-ask this a bit more pointedly. Do you have an all-time favorite book, Pony Story, by chance, that you'd love to finish this episode off with?
Wow, I'm mind blown.
I had that shepherd the summer. I shouldn't have brought him, and it was warm.
German Shepherd.
Yeah, I had a 100-pound shepherd in the car, so I had to leave the vehicle running the whole summer while I'm in there. And I pulled up to a house, and there was a little dog tied up to a thing tied up to the garage, yipping. And I walked to the door, and nobody was at the door. And I walked back, and that little dog had caught itself underneath my car.
Oh!
So now the rope is caught underneath my axle. Now the car's running because my dog's there. If I let my dog out, we're going to have big problems. So I had a little knife I carried with me, and I started reaching under, started cutting that rope. And every time I went for the rope, the dog went, and so I slice at the rope, the dog went, and I did. And I had that timing, and I had it frayed down to the last fray, and damn it, the dog, bam. And, let me see if I can see it. So it hits a vein.
I got my scar right here.
Hits a vein, and now it's spurting out. I cover it. Now, the car's running. Dog's in the car. Blood's everywhere.
Wow.
The other dog's still caught underneath my car. I leave everything. I leave the car running. I check the gas. I left my dog in the car. I left the dog tied up underneath my car. I left the blood on the driveway. I go to the neighbor's house who just said no to me. And she took me to the hospital.
Hmm.
She got me stitches. And the cops called and wanted to go destroy this dog because the dog had bit me.
That's how it is.
I wouldn't tell them where that dog lived. I went back. The lady thanked me because my car was in their driveway with a dog in it and it was running when they came home. And
Yeah.
I went on and had a great summer and finished strong. And you know, I always like the I want to win, and I always finish those last two weeks strong. This was right in there. It's not quite a pony story, but
Hey,
you know,
Sure.
I kept on going. You know, I had many. The summer I didn't set the record, or after I set, and I didn't sell any books. You know, let's say I sold 8,000 units, or for me, I was really bummed and wanted to quit. Wanted to quit Southwestern. Wanted to quit my life, and meaning I'm done. I'm going to go do something else.
Right.
And I remember my sales manager, Lachlan, came to see me. I was selling industrial real estate. This is before I set the company record. So we'll finish with a good one. This is 1988. I'm selling industrial real estate for a company. And Lachlan said, Rosen, you know, what do you got, man? You know, you were pretty good, but what do you got? What do you got? And I went and set the company record that summer. And he recruited me back. I quit my job. I went and sold books. And those pace setter reports and those weekly amazing things, I was really glad. That was a pivotal time. You know, no matter how far down the wrong path you've gone, it's okay to turn back. But you know, those summers where I didn't do well, where I thought I was the king of the world, where I thought I couldn't fail and I failed, those were the real lessons. You know, those were the things that prepared me for some of those obstacles that I had later on in my life. You know, yes, I've had a lot of successes. I have millions of dollars of failures, millions of dollars. I have so much shrapnel in my back. I've lost so many races. I've lost so much money, and you must be willing to fail. But being able to dust yourself off, go back to work, strip it down, go back to the fundamentals. Again, I'm secure and I'm confident because I know I can build it back. I shake it off and I keep going. So there's your pony.
There it is. Well, I mean,
thank you for sharing,
man. Wow. Well, Dave, first of all, you're welcome back anytime. We'll have you back on and talk about all sorts of other stuff. As you know, and we're going to follow you along as your career develops and as this Jenny's Wave Sealer and Pure Extracts. Yeah. Yeah, man. We're not sponsored by them, but you know, we're always looking. So
Yet.
Yeah, we can make a plug. We can make a plug for the plug.
I know a guy that's really good at campaigning and raising money for things and projects. So I'll ask him how he did it. And
guys, congratulations on what you built. It's been a pleasure. I really thank you for inviting me. It's what you built is really cool. It's an entrepreneurial venture. You're genuine, you're authentic, and you guys are succeeding because of it.
Thank you, man. That means a lot.
Very much appreciated.
And I'm happy to sponsor, support. I'm in. I'm an easy.
All right. We got
we'll
one.
Be that's
a pony.
All right, guys.
We got a buyer on the line. Right?
Where do I sign?
We'll be in touch. Closing thoughts. Closing thoughts. Just say thank you so much for your time and for sharing with us. We know you're busy running with all your projects, and so this is really cool. We'll have this up on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, so you can share as you want or whatever. Keep it as for yourself and listen to it as much as you want. But this was one of the benchmarks that we were like, hey, someday we're gonna have Dave Rosen on the podcast because he's a legend. Like if there was a Mount Rushmore, you'd be on it, And so that's it's been an honor to have you on, and look forward to staying in touch and just kind of following along and seeing where everything takes you. It's been awesome to have you.
Thanks very much.
Yeah?
I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, man. And with that, we'll just wrap it up. We've been with Dave Rosen. My name is Andres Gamboa Barrera. I'm your host, and my co-host Nick Taverdi is with me. We'll see you guys next time.
And we'll be starting up season 2 here pretty soon. We'll get some guests in the pipeline, and we'll let everybody know through our Facebook page and everywhere else. So
that's right. Season 1 comes to an end. Thanks. What a fantastic episode. Thanks, Dave.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Peace.
Peace.